and I break down this RSL team, and we're like, hey, are they just young or are they finicky? What's the real answer here?
Yeah, you'll just have to find out. One of us was positive, one of us was more negative. You're just going to have to figure out which one that
I
was.
guess we'll never know
We'll
unless you
never know.
listen.
Yeah. So take a listen. It's a great episode. It's another episode of the RSL Random Fan Podcast. I'm your host, Brad Goble, joined by,
Tyler Thomas.
and no Brennan tonight. Having a young family is kind of difficult. And Lisa, who knows?
Who knows? He could be just laid out. We don't know. He could be in a ditch. Okay, he's not. He's just
He's
not
not
making
in
it tonight.
it. Yeah, no, he's not making it. Maybe he worked out too hard at the gym because
There you go.
there's a couple of you guys that head out to the gym. That was yeah.
Too
Oh yeah,
flexible.
I'm sore from
Yeah. Oh, too
uh,
sore.
walking up the stairs today. But anyway, we're gonna talk about Real Salt Lake and a surprising trend, a disappointing trend, a concerning trend. How would you how would you describe RSL losing three of the last four games, Tyler? How do you spin that into a positive?
Well, I think we have bright spots still. We still have some young bucks that are finding their way. And as we do that, we have issues. We'll have Goza will run overrun stuff. He'll run too much, right? Diego Luna will be impatient. Um, Solans will make off the ball runs into no man's land. Like that's going to happen. Like we know those things are going to happen. But I don't know that we knew that our back line wouldn't hold up as well as we kind of hoped. And I don't think that I think we miss Glad more than we realize and probably miss, uh, yeah, Junka, it's struggling. Probably didn't
Angle.
see that happening. We miss Angle, right? Yeah. So those are the kind of rough spots right now where you kind of wince and say, well, hopefully we'll get them next time. And we kind of have been. We've been win, lose kind of a thing. A little streaky. And that's the good and the bad of a young team.
Yeah, I was looking at the standings today, and RSL is we're only, you know, so many games in, but RSL only has one draw.
Yeah.
And that's concerning. I think last year we only had like four. I think we led the league in least amount of draws,
Well,
which
then,
you're
which means
either
we're going for it, which is exciting. It's fun to watch. But 5-4-1, isn't great, right? At this
no,
point. But there were some chances there for us to, you know, get two of those goals back. We ended up getting one back in the end and then giving up that crap goal in stoppage time. But yeah, that it yeah, tough. It's tough. It's tough to
well, let's
watch at times, but the silver lining is the kids, I think, will bounce right back. They can forget it. They got a game on Wednesday and a game on Saturday. So a lot of time to get right back at it, right?
yeah, let's go over the lineup. Minimal changes. Cabral in the back. And then across the back line, you had Junka, Quinton in the center, and Yedlin. And then Gozo and Sanabria on the sides. And then across the middle, you had Luna, Caliscan, Sparings, and Gilavogi. And up top, Solans. However, they were kind of, how the formations change when they get out there and start playing. But what were your thoughts on Quinton? Let's start there.
Well, I think PQ plays good when he's heads up, when he can play his way. But what he's not great at is those one-on-one quick battles. And that's where he gave up that shot, that very first shot where Santiago Moreno, which he's been a pain in our behinds for a couple years over in Portland. He's over in Dallas now. They shipped him out and he's kicking our butt over there. So that's fun. It's fun to see him still doing well against us. I
Yeah,
don't
we
love
have to
that.
be good for something.
I mean, I guess he's good against us. He's an all-star if he could just play Real Salt Lake all the time. But as it sits, I didn't obviously love that. But he'll just pop up out of nowhere and just bam, goal. And then, you know, it's like, but
Yeah, and I was watching. Thank you to everyone that came out to the break in Murray and tried to win. Anybody that showed up got to enter and I'll win World Cup tickets at the event on on the evening, and also
wow.
registered for random draws for World Cup tickets. So
Oh, cool.
yeah, so it was a fantastic. We appreciate those that come out. We appreciate Gary at the break. He loves the RSL fans that have come out and worked hard to turn that into a soccer getaway. So appreciate you coming out. And we've got one more coming up, one more away game, and working on making it an exciting watch party for that last home game before the break against Minnesota. Anyway, back to this game. So I thought it was really interesting watching the game that RSL came out and were I think the best word is impatient that you talked about, that you mentioned. It just felt like they were too impatient. They wanted to get the quick, try and get behind. They were long passes, trying to go over the top. And Dallas was having none of it. And Dallas looked like they've watched the tape on how to frustrate Real Salt Lake, and that is to put pressure on the ball, man up. I don't know how you describe their defense, Tyler. You're the expert, not
Well,
me. But it looked like they were frustrating RSL from the get go.
well, you got to remember, Briggs is over there as a head coach assistant, and so is Eric Quill. He's the head coach now, and they're both former MLS players, right? Eric Quill was a longtime MLSer, now turned head coach, and Briggs used to be with Real Salt Lake, so they kind of know what we're wanting to do, and they're pretty good at frustrating what we were trying to do out there, right? And maybe that's just individually, and in other teams where they're not as good, we can get away with that. But when they kind of know what we're trying to do, they can take it away from us. You know how when you're like an up and coming team, you can do certain things against inferior opponents, like in basketball because you're taller, right? Or in soccer because you're faster, right? But then other teams have learned to play against faster people, and so they can counteract that. They don't go diving in on the tackle and you go hopping over the top. They just stay back and make you make an amazing play to get anywhere on the field. So it did frustrate us, and there were times when we were impatient. A lot of times just not quality when it needed to be. You know, my favorite play in the game is when there's no pressure on the ball and we still give it away. That's my favorite play of all time in Real Salt Lake. So
And
if
the back
you,
heel.
it's like, ah, I mean, of course, don't ever back heel, especially if you're Sam Junka. Don't, that's not your skill set. Don't do it. It's not, no, ever, no. Anyway, I'm calling for Katranis to be put in at outside back, that inside left back, whatever you call it, right? The spot that Junk is occupying currently.
Yeah,
Love Sam. He's a great competitor, but it 4 or 5 times during the game he just made mistakes that gave away corners, miss hit balls, passes to the other team, and I'm like,
yeah, it
maybe he just had a
was.
bad game, but it was a little bit of a pain. And Philip Quinton, I think, didn't do horribly, but he gave the first goal, he wasn't in a good spot. He was totally gone on the second goal. We were
Well,
all
he did
pushed
have that
through.
wonderful back pass that Cabral had to save.
Yeah, that
That
I
was
mean, you know what I
almost
mean?
disaster 8 minutes into the game.
So I guess you could say he played pretty poorly too.
Yeah, I love Philip Quinton, but I don't think he's the answer in the center. I think in the back three, he's on the right there. He's really good because he's got good vision, but I think you pointed out something really, he kind of panics
It looks
when,
like it, huh?
like on that goal. You want to talk about the goal
Our goal or
that we,
theirs?
well, we'll get to our goal. I mean, it was the only highlight of the game. Let's save that. Let's build up. We want to build
Okay,
up the
okay,
tension. Let's
right.
really make people anticipation.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So we started off really good with knocking, Kirk off the ball. And yes, I mispronounced their names on purpose. Okay, I know I do. Anyway, so we're trying to dump truck the guy and stop the play, but we don't, and the ball goes forward. And our defenders are like, "Oh, cool. They're coming at us." I shouldn't I shouldn't do with such venom in my thoughts and feelings. So they kick it up to the middle and Santiago Moreno just, takes a touch, moves it off the side, realizes Quentin isn't as long as he thinks he is and goes for goal. Cabral doesn't really see it till too late. It's kind of frozen in place and it just tucks in that corner. It's a great shot. Good
And
finish.
maybe, yeah, it was a beautiful shot. And maybe a more experienced player in so like Solans takes the yellow. I mean, he did try and make the foul to his credit because there was play on there, but he's probably got to invest a little bit more in stopping that and not letting me get away. I mean, that's half a six of one, half a dozen the other. But also too on that play when Moreno is at the top of the box and you got your two RSL defenders. I know it was Quinton right there in front of him. It was Yedlin on his right,
Yeah.
and they're both backing away. I think they're both worried about the pass where he's going to maybe send in, or if there's a runner, instead of forcing him to make the pass, and he just tees it up, and it was a great shot and gets past Cabral. And you just can't expect Cabral to stand on his head every single freaking game. You have to do a little bit more.
Yeah, I mean, he didn't really react very well either.
No,
But
I mean,
yeah, it
there.
was a
I mean,
great shot.
we can get to orange slices, and there we may go home with more than we took. I don't know. There's not a lot of orange slices to go around in this game. I don't think. But so RSL goes down 1-0, and yeah, it was really weird to watch the game. It wasn't the team that we have been seeing. It certainly wasn't the team that played well against Portland that came
Well,
out
and
there. And
even
maybe
the
it's just
team
because they're
against
on the road.
Vancouver, right? Like, I mean, it's like give us and to be fair, up until that first goal, we actually were outplaying them by quite a bit, right? So we were
Well, yeah,
doing,
that's. I don't
it
know if
felt
I'd go
like,
that far because I thought we weren't. I think we were reacting to them. I think Dallas was kind of. I think they had our number early on, and it was kind of like it was going back and forth, but it was kind of by the goal, it was kind of tipping. I think in Dallas's favor. I think RSL was getting frustrated, even with all of the possession. Dallas was really comfortable with RSL having the possession, and they weren't patient enough with that possession, and it was just like you said, turnover, sloppy pass, and impatience that just played right into what Dallas was doing.
yeah. And it felt like we didn't get Juanma the ball enough. He makes really good decisions almost all the time. Until the second goal where he plays the ball to Yedlin and makes a run, and then the ball goes in and they clear it, and basically 3-on-1, and they get a goal on that too. So not great coverage on our set play, our set piece, right?
Yeah. It was 24th minute and you're down 2-0 and you're just like going, man, this could get out of hand. But to RSL's credit, they kind of bunkered in or calmed down a little bit and it was only 2-0 at halftime. But Gila Vogie did pick up a yellow in the 35th and Luna got his in the in stoppage time for throwing. I don't know what he threw, whether it was a headband or something. But that's kind of one of the things I was waiting for there, talking to the fans there and all the other RSL fans at the game, kind of frustrated with the first half. And the question is, what do they need to do, and what needs to change? And for me, I thought this game was kind of the first game that we've seen this year where we needed someone to step up. In all the other games, it's been a team effort, and you've found at different times in the games where different players, Gozo, Luna, Gilavogi, Spirings, Sanabria, have all kind of taken turns during the game to come together and play together and create and kind of take control of the game for Real Salt Lake. And this was a game where no one was stepping up.
Well, and to me, the most interesting stat of the game was, I know we're recapping the game already, sorry.
Oh, no worries.
Was we had 12 shots. So they only had 11. We had three on frame. Three. That was one of the feedback we gave from last week with Portland in town, is we probably could have been five or six, but we missed the goal quite a few times. We hit the crossbar, we hit the post, goalkeeper stood on his head a couple times. And so this game, nine times we just missed the goal on 12 shots. They had 11 shots, six on frame, three saves, three goals. So does that just mean they got better quality chances? Maybe. But also, we missed the goal when we shot.
And I think that this game, well, this team, it's still a long season, long way to go.
Right.
And the surprise success is kind of, you know, not tainted, but kind of maybe waxed over some of the imperfections that RSL has. And as they get deeper into the season and teams watch the tape, how they, you know, maybe the video, maybe the streaming, whatever it is they watch nowadays. Back in the day, it was who knows cuneiform tablets, but people have watched
Made
RSL.
a tablet joke, like they're gonna carve
Yeah,
stone tablets and watch the replays from that. Come on,
yeah,
Brent.
the reenactments, the shadow
The
puppets.
shadow puppets.
Yeah, that's a goal. So I think the book is out on RSL on how to play them. You frustrate them, you press them, you put pressure on the player with the ball, and that's what Dallas was doing, and RSL did not react well. They did not play well together. Instead of having a player, I thought this was a great opportunity for a player like Luna, a player like Guilavogi, to step up and say, "Hey, you know what? Calm down. Let's figure this out." And someone to lead the traffic. Instead, it just continued to be individual play, individual play, individual play, and too cute by half. They're trying to do the flick-ons and stuff when they needed to put 10, 12, 15 passes together and start to push and work uh, Dallas into a shape that they wanted, as opposed
Yeah.
to what Dallas was doing is just waiting for RSL to make a mistake.
Well, and that was the other stat that I thought was interesting. And I don't know if these stats are right on the MLS Game Center, but it says 631 passes for RSL, which sounds right. We're a high passing team, but only 215 for Dallas.
Well,
215.
well, whoever's counting for MLS soccer has it 665 for RSL and 243
Either
for
way,
Dallas.
pretty close.
Yeah,
We
pretty
kind of
dime.
controlled the play of the game, but not being able to get it into, and maybe that's impatience, maybe that's over patience. It's a lot of things at a lot of times. But in the end, you need quality to break down other teams. And if we don't have it and we're not able to combine well, then we're gonna struggle like this. And we have to get better as a team because I think we have the skilled players in place. We just got to keep playing together and grind out some results. Figure out a way to come back from a 2-0 deficit. And this was an opportunity to do it, and we didn't do it. Will we do it later in the season? I sure hope so.
Yeah, I would hope we would. 'Cause I do think, like I said, that was my takeaway from watching the game. At least in the first half, the RSL was just a little too impatient. And they wanted to get that goal and cut the lead in half too fast. I mean, you always want to get a quick goal, but they weren't taking the time to do it. And that's kind of what Pablo was talking about in the post game about not playing within their structure. They were breaking their structure. And I think people were trying to kind of freelance and try and take the game on by themselves and be creative and kind of be too creative instead of staying within the game plan. And if how are you supposed to break down a team that is going to stay in a low block and let you have the ball? How would you how are you supposed to break them down, Tyler?
We got to pull them out I mean, there's two schools of thought, right? Either you pull them out or you compress them, right? So you either want them to get flat and then get down the line and lob balls in for headers, right? Or you pull them out. So you do the thing where you I call it recycle, right? Reduce, reuse, recycle, right? That's what we're supposed to do with our trash and stuff anyway. So you pull the ball back, you play with your outside backs, you work it around the back, and then you work it back down the left or the right side. You go in the channels, you look for all these different places where you see somebody rotating slowly and then you go to exploit it, right? And that's basically what you do is pull them out and then push them back and try to get them to compress and fall out of shape. And when that happens, usually there's a pathway through and just enough space to get a quality shot off, but you got to put it on frame. So like there were times when we did that and it happened for us and things opened up and then would miss the goal, you know? And so there was I felt like a lot of that, or the combination wasn't right. And instead of pulling it back and flipping it around the other side and being willing to play total soccer kind of thing, we just kind of got impatient and blasted it at the goal. So,
Yeah, and I thought there was a lot of, and I guess it just kind of points out our different personalities. You focus more on the positive, and I maybe focused a little too much on the negative. But that's kind of what I remember of the game is like there were too many hopeful balls, too many times where they were trying to get behind and loft the ball up to Gozo, and Gozo was, you know, no one was stood out really in this game, I think. But I thought Gozo was a kind of a ghost, and that's probably a lot more on what FC Dallas was doing to him and doing to RSL than what he was doing or not doing because he did get the ball and they forced RSL. They let RSL try and beat him on an individual basis, and for the most part, RSL took the bait and was unable to beat them. Yeah, wasn't unable to beat the FC Dallas team on an individual basis when
yeah,
teamwork was needed.
yeah. And to be fair, they actually played quite well. Did a great job of staying together on their side of things. And they had a couple things break their way as well, you know what I mean? But in the end, I think it was a fair result, but it could have been changed had we been a little more quality in the final third.
Yeah, the whole time watching the game as the get we got deeper and deeper in the game. I think, man, you know what? The better team's winning this game tonight. And I thought RSL, if they had a little bit more composure in the second half, they might have pulled out a result, got a draw. But for the most part, I don't think. I think the result was deserved,
Yeah,
absolutely deserved by
I think
Dallas.
we play this game 3 or 4 times and we win half and lose half at this point. Like that team against our team, like it's a pretty even matchup, I think. And this one just didn't go our way.
Maybe with Gladbach and Engelbach, and we'll see what Arias can do if when he gets into the lineup back there as a center back. And also looking at the stats, RSL had 8 crosses, which isn't bad. Which isn't bad. I would have expected a few more from just watching the game. I would have expected to see that number higher. And we've talked about anytime RSL gets 12, 14, 15, the games usually look like this. So 8 is kind of low. But how many crosses did Dallas have?
I don't know.
Zero.
None. Yeah,
Zero
they
crosses.
had like no possession, man.
Yeah, they didn't even need it.
I guess
So
not.
RSL goes in 2-0 at halftime. And the second half, pretty much a lot like the first half. So I was a little disappointed. Although, to his credit, let's talk about the subs. Early subs. Solon's made it to the 58th minute, and Olatunji came in for him. And then
Did
68th
it feel
minute
like it was just he wasn't being effective at all? Is that what you were feeling like as well?
with Solon's.
Yeah.
I think he's a rookie. He does have a lot of experience, from Spain and going through the college experience. But I think he's at a point now where he might get to sit for a minute. I don't we'll see how it goes. There doesn't have to be, but there's probably going to be some rotation with the next two games on Wednesday and on a Wednesday and a Saturday. And I think the kind of the bloom is off the rose there with Solons and that the defenses have kind of figured him out, put some pressure on. Now it's up to him, it's up to RSL to figure out a way to continue to make him effective. And I thought it was I thought it was a good sub. Might have done it at halftime. Would have made a would have been. I mean, nobody would have objected to think anybody getting subbed at halftime after that first half. But Olatunji came in the 58th. Hezarkhani came in for Spirings in the 68th. I thought that was interesting. I think Aiden has. I thought he played decent. I thought he had a good turn as a sub in this game, and maybe we'll see him get a start again because RSL is he has proven to be very dynamic and creative in there. And then Mark Chuk came in the 82nd minute, and I think that was all the subs, right? Well, Katranis came in for Sanabria in the 69th minute with Hezarkhani and the Spirings um, sub. So, what are your thoughts on the subs?
These guys aren't doing it. Let's throw these guys in and see what happens, right? Like, let's see if any of these guys can come off the bench and make a spark. And kind of did in ways, but I don't know that any of them made enough of an impact to really say that they were super valuable subs. Hazard came on and did what he did. It wasn't as effective as we probably wanted it to be, but at least make the game exciting, right? When you put the kid in and let him run at people and stepping over, pulling back, it's just got good feet, that kid, and that's fun to watch, if nothing else.
Yeah, and I thought it's interesting. I don't know if they know what to do with Olatunji. I don't know what your thoughts on him. I mean, the
Well,
longer
let's
we
hear
get,
what you think.
we haven't seen him enough. It's hard from what we've seen. It's hard to say, hey, you know what? We need to get him out there.
Right.
In the
He deserves
preseason,
more.
watching him in practice before the injury, and he's just a specimen. He's a big guy. You're expecting him to go in there and be somebody that you can send the ball up to. He can do some hold up play. People can run off him and he can make some passes, but that hasn't been the case. His touch has been disappointing. I think it's hard to have confidence in getting him the ball up top. He tends to fall down a lot. Is that fair? Seems like he goes down a little bit too easily. So, and maybe that will come with more minutes. But at the same time, he hasn't gone out there and made it. I don't think that he was subbed in there because they wanted him in there. I think they would sub him in there because Solans wasn't. It was more of us on Solans than it was an Olatunji. Is that what do you think? What do you think of that comment?
Well, I think that's fair. But it's like, okay, we got to do something different, kind of a deal. So let's sub in Solans or sub out Solans and our go-to guys, Olatunji. There's not anybody else that really plays that hold up play. I mean, Arieth Pure, but he's on the DL. That's not the down low, kids. That's the disabled list.
Don't look up down low, please, kids. Don't look up down low. Anyway,
Yeah. So there you go. Good sub, but he really didn't make much of an impact. I think he tried, but I think we were so disconnected. We tried, we were doing different things to try to get to where we could be and should be, but we just weren't getting to what was the quality of Real Salt Lake there. So tough night.
and then Katranis came in. I thought, yeah, it's hard to. Nobody had anything really to write home about after this game.
I mean, Luna did get the goal, right? Great take, right? Getting it
Yeah,
wide on the wing, cutting inside with his right and having a good shot to the far post, tucked it in. Quality take.
Yeah, it was a few moments, a few minutes there of RSL kind of like, all right. It looked like they found a spark and they were um did you feel like the goal was coming or was it more a goal out of nothing?
It felt like out of nothing after so long of just kicking the ball around, right?
Yeah.
And it just felt like it, why have we not done anything like this up until now? You know what I mean? There's so many of those like, but then you get the goal and you're like, okay, that wasn't as hard as we made it up until then, you know?
Yeah,
But
that's kind of how I felt too. It's like, oh, there it is. It wasn't like a long spell of quality possession. They got over in the corner and the Dallas defenders kind of backed off again like we did on our goal and on their goal, their first goal, and Luna just let out all of the frustration that he had all game, it looked like, and just lasered the ball into the back of the net, and you know the place exploded with RSL fans getting excited, and I thought at that point, I thought, okay, maybe they figured it out, and we're going to walk out of here with a point, which would have been more, more than what they deserved, I thought. But that wasn't to be because, what were your thoughts on that last goal? What do you,
well, just I think when you're pressing and you're getting aggressive to try to get a goal, you're going to have things like that that break down. And in the end, it was a little bit lucky. Catranis raced all the way back, fought him off the ball. Unlucky touch by Catranis falls right into his path, and he took it well, but there was a bit of luck placed in that. It was sad to see the other guys give up on that play because if Catranis goes down and the guy stumbles, nobody's there to pick up that next ball. It it felt like, I mean, and to be fair, Sam played the whole game, so I get why you're not full dead on sprint in the 97th minute or whatever it was.
yeah, and
94th minute.
Caliscan got kind of left in the dust too, I think, on that.
Yeah.
He looks like, oh man, I don't have the wheels to keep up with these guys. But Catranis, man, he was right there with him step for step and made the
And
slide
he
and
was
just,
the sub, so if
yeah,
anybody's running back, it should be one of the
yeah.
subs. But
So,
unlucky.
yeah, and RSL to their credit, we're going forward and they're, what's the difference between 2-1 or 3-1, just goal differential, but
Yeah.
they were giving themselves the chance to push forward and get that tying goal. So kudos
And
to
it
them,
sounds
credit
like
to them.
Pablo was telling him to go for it. So I like that, right? Like, let's get after it. Let's try to make it happen. If it does, great. If it doesn't, we understand, right? Like, but
So,
I think that makes the game more exciting when you go for it.
oh, I agree. I agree. So you can't fault them for that, but I do. Well, let me ask you this. Wh- Where does the fault lie, if any, in this game?
Across the board. Everybody played some role in the team not doing well, right? Gozo was Energizer Bunny, but wasn't in control sometimes, or wasn't where he should be, having good angles and all these other things, right? Like I think Wanma played pretty well, but you know, he can't do it all on his own, right? Like, and then just like somebody would make a run and they would kind of be open, and then the other guy would be like, I'm not passing it. I'm going to try this instead. And the try this instead didn't work, you know? So a lot of miscommunication. And I don't know how much of that is Dallas and how much of that is us, right? Is it just we're young and we gotta have more time, more games together, and we'll figure it out in better ways going forward? I don't know. What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I thought it was the probably arguably the worst performance all year from RSL, and that was kind of surprising after the way they played the game previous, the Portland game. I thought they kind of controlled Portland, and then Portland goes out and over the weekend and just annihilates
Oh yeah,
a
Kansas City.
really really bad Kansas City team like 6-0. I think Kansas City was so bad. I think Kansas City they let Kansas City put on two extra players
Yeah.
to even it up. It was
I
so
think
bad.
that's what they did. Yeah. Like a rec game. They're like,
Yeah.
oh, put on an extra player. Put on another one.
Yeah. Oh no, keep going. Keep going.
Have two goalies now.
And Portland was, five passes before you shoot.
Right?
But yeah, they just totally annihilate Kansas City. And then RSL, I thought it was disappointing. I was really surprised that RSL came out and play the way they did.
Yeah.
And I hope it's not, three losses in four games. I hope it's not, you know, water finding its own level where RSL is just kind of settling into who they are and which is a mid-table team. Maybe I don't want them to be a mid-table team trying not to finish in 10th place like some idiot predicted. I'd rather have them a team trying to battle for the top four spots, but they're not there. They played the fifth place team. Granted, we had some injuries and they kind of got worked. It was a
Yeah.
away game, so it wasn't at home.
So
But
at what point does your boy Henry come in? And he
yeah,
played left back because somebody's got to take that spot from Sam. And if Sam's not giving it up from practice, somebody's got to step up and do better, right?
yeah. And do they switch? And I don't know that having that back three, Junka and um,
Quinn,
Quinton and Yedlin. I don't know that that's the three you want back there. I thought Yedlin, it could have been four or five from Dallas because Musa, I mean, he didn't have to jump and he got a free header over Yedlin. So I thought, oh, maybe they go with four in the back and kind of switch up a little bit to see what would happen, especially if Clad's going to be out again, if he hasn't recovered from the abductor strain, his
groin, groin,
whatever
pull his groin, pull his
whatever it
groin.
is if he can't go in the next couple of games, do you kind of like make some changes, some tactical changes, and throw four in the back there? So
Well,
you're
I
a
mean,
little,
you mentioned Arias. He hasn't even made the bench yet, right? And I think it's because he's not fully fit yet. But Kobe Henry's the only other guy on the bench, right? In that spot.
yeah, he was the only center back there. You had Dylan and Ruiz, but they're not going to.
Yeah, it's Daiduhar, I guess, at emergency center back. Just kidding.
Yeah,
Jokes, jokes. He's not even a real player. He sits on the bench. He's never made an appearance. So
well,
he
he is. I mean, he just wouldn't know what to do
technically
with.
doesn't count, right?
I have to take my gloves off. So I'll be interested to see how RSL bounces back, and it's great that after a loss that you just get right back on the horse and head back out there on Wednesday night against Houston, a team um, that had a pretty good weekend themselves.
Yeah, taking it to LAFC 4-1. And usually that's because of that big lefty over there that had some national team experience with Diego Luna, right? So, yeah, yeah, it's been interesting the way that has played out. And the standings are as it sits right now. In the East, you got Nashville on top with 11 games played, 7 wins. New England has 7 wins, Miami has six. So pretty congested up top over there. In the West, it's 9 wins for San Jose, eight for Vancouver, and six for LAFC. And then 6 wins have LAFC, Seattle, Minnesota, and Real. So we're close, right? I mean, there's a lot of good things going on. We're still positive goal differential, which for me is big, but so is
Yeah,
Dallas, you
yeah,
know?
it's just concerning because the streak is headed in the wrong direction. Three out of the
Well,
four
it
games we've
depends on how
lost.
you count, right? If you count from all the recent losses, 3 out of 4 games are losses. But if you just count the last two, we're only 1-1. But if you count the last 12, we're 5-3-4. So, we still have a pretty decent you know, streak going. Oh wait, 5-3-4 is Dallas. We're 6-4-1. Yeah.
Always look on the bright side of life.
When
So
you
anyway,
close four.
So
We're
Houston
not good away. We got to work on that.
got to work on our road game. Houston, like you said, they are 18 points, 1 point behind us, and Dallas picked up 3 points and tied us um, on 19 points. And so we have Houston and then Colorado, who seems to be sinking. We have them on Saturday. They
Yeah.
seem to be sinking down the table there.
They only have one road win on the season, so
So, what are your
hopefully
thoughts
that
on
one.
the Houston coming in on Wednesday? How does RSL bounce back?
Well, Houston has a couple of kind of big guns on their team. They have Jack McGlynn, who's the tall, skinny dude, left-footed. He had a couple of sweet goals against LAFC, and they have a couple of other dogs on their team. Some other guys that get after it real good, and so it it could be a really good matchup. I like that. I like what we can bring against Houston. Usually, I think we play them pretty well, especially at home. So my money's on RSL at this point. I think we beat them 3-1 or 3-0, hopefully. Get a shutout at home, get the fans back on the Wednesday night to see some beauty, and then come into the weekend and take down Colorado and bring back our Rocky Mountain Cup, and all's right in the world again, Brant. How about you? What are you seeing?
Yeah, that's what I'm hoping for. I think of the RSL young team at home, they're playing better at home. And I think in the post game, I thought Pablo might have been the most disappointing he's been all season, at least in the post games I've been at or watched. And I think he was really disappointed in how the team played. Maybe he was maybe surprised as well. So I expect them to have a fire lit under them, whether that's as a team or through the coaching. And I expect them to play much better on Wednesday. I don't know. Obviously, Houston's coming in after taking apart LAFC, but it is on the road. It is at altitude, and I had a great conversation post practice last week with Junka before heading to the game, and asking him the difference between elevation and playing in the heat, and he thought that elevation was more difficult to adjust to than the heat overall. So
Interesting.
maybe that will play have a factor if RSL can jump on them and who knows, maybe hopefully Houston doesn't watch the game and see how FC Dallas found success and just kind of bunker in and force RSL to be creative and beat them as a team. We'll see how it goes.
Yeah.
So, orange slices for the game against Dallas. Are there any to give out besides the obvious? Do we each give one to Diego Luna, or did you find a bright spot, Tyler, that somebody
Yeah,
else that
you can take
deserves?
Luna, and I'll go with Juanma. I think he tried his best to connect that left side. I think Sam needs to improve a little bit, and I think um, if Juanma starts connecting with Salons in that channel, we're other teams are going to be in real trouble. So
Yeah, I agree. I thought I liked Luna's second half performance more than the first half. I still thought that was a game where Luna or Gilavogi really could have stepped up and grabbed the team by the scruff of the neck and say, "Hey, let's follow me, boys," and made a better effort as a group instead
yeah,
of on an individual basis.
and it was there. It was there to be had. It just wasn't had. So
So, big takeaways. The big takeaway for me was I was a little disappointed that RSL was kind of like I mentioned before, water finding its own level. I felt like this was a game where they were kind of sinking into the challenges of having injuries and not stepping up. Another big takeaway was probably that the book is out on them and they need to figure out a way to adjust if teams are going to consistently play them the way that Dallas and Miami and maybe these other teams that have had success against them. They need to figure that out. if teams have figured them out, then they need to make some changes, whatever those are. We'll see if they make any tactical changes. So, and yeah, I think those are my big takeaways. Other than what I was mentioned before, that this team needs someone in the middle on the pitch to be the leader of the team. I think Cabral is a great captain, but that leader role in this club is, I think it's wide open.
Yeah, it needs to be more of a general, right? More of a let's go, boys. Here's what we're doing. Let's start going down the right, or let's find this channel, or this is open. Let's exploit it, right? Like something.
Yeah, and I don't know that that can be a 19-year-old Gozo. I think it can be an experienced Guy Lavogi. It could be an experienced Diego Luna. It might even be somebody like Spearings, right? Kind of like um, oh, Crooks, Matt Crooks. I thought he was kind of that guy when he that season he played with RSL, kind of from that position, kind of back there like with Spirings, where he kind of motivated the team and was a leader in that way. He wasn't necessarily the general, but there was someone stepping up, and I think that role is wide open on this club, at least going forward. Cabral is obviously the leader in the back, and he's a great captain, but would love to see someone step up and take this team and be the leader.
Yeah, and that's my concern right now. So with Glad out and Junka in, like those two things are kind of stressing out our back line. But the back line can figure it out. They're not that far off. You know what I mean? One or two missteps in this game, and the game's different. And so that those missteps go away this week, we're right back on track. So,
Yeah, I would be surprised if RSL had another game like Saturday. I think it's going to be more like the Portland game, but we'll see what Houston brings too. It could be, if they come in and have a knockdown, drag out, 2-2 draw, 3-3 draw, yeah, great. But I'm expecting RSL to play much better.
very good.
All right. Thank you for listening to us, putting up with us, joining us at the break out in Murray for our watch parties. We really appreciate you coming out and talking with us and meeting with us. And we appreciate you listening. So follow us on all your social media. Please subscribe to our YouTube channel. Follow us on TikTok, on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, X, whatever they call it. And we really appreciate that.
And
And
by the way, Brant, is Crawley season over?
yes. No, yeah. So the Come on Crawley update has been working all year trying to haven't been able to connect with Gary. I know people are just dying. I mean, I'm getting no emails
Right.
all the time about, hey, let's hear from Gary. And that's pretty, basically those episodes are basically for me. So just indulge me when I talk to you with Gary from Crawley Town. But yes, Crawley Town, they made the cut. They did not get relegated. Did we talk about that? No, that was
I think so, but I just
yeah,
was
I think we
hanging on
did.
by a moment there.
Yeah. Yeah. So Crawley, the last game of the season, they got the draw, the 0-0 draw. My daughter and grandkids were there. Yeah, we talked about it.
Yeah.
Daughter and grandkids were there, and they had a great
Ran out on
experience.
the field, lived
Yeah.
it up. Yeah.
Stormed the field, knocked down some ushers. I mean, it was pretty violent. No, they were
Nice.
they were fine. It was happy. Everybody was happy. Crawley stayed in the EFL, did not get relegated, and the pressure is off. They can build for the future and get back up to League One and maybe even,
The Premier League.
yeah, well, I would be happy if they get to the championship. That would be quite something. But Crawley is a wonderful team. If you need another team, you can never have enough soccer teams, right, Tyler?
Right.
So follow Crawley, be an Arsenal fan. Did
Yeah.
we talk about that?
Yeah. Arsenal are now 2 games away from completing their season. They are 5 points ahead, but that doesn't mean they're done because Man City still have a game in hand. They have a midweek game coming up and then a weekend. But Arsenal, if they win out, will be title champions for 26.
With
And
no help from the VAR, there won't be any asterisk for
correct.
the title for
Yeah. And
Arsenal.
even though, Man City stuff is paid for by oil money, like there's no asterisk on that. So I guess we're we're fine, right? I mean, it's Walmart money versus oil money. Whose money do you want to win?
It's
Walmart,
all
baby. Walmart.
it's all dirty. It's all dirty. But yeah, I think it's interesting. There was the controversy that the non-Arsenal fans going on about the VAR. We had a great conversation with my Arsenal fan son yesterday on Mother's Day about his
David Raya grabbed the ball and the guy pulled his arms down and he dropped the ball. And then they kicked it in. It's not much of a controversy.
well, it depends on who you're watching. They were saying that they haven't called that
Depends
all
if you're
season,
an
and then
Arsenal fan or not.
yeah,
If you don't like Arsenal winning, then you complain when calls go their way. It's not like it's happened 11 times to two, like Real with penalty kicks and
that's true.
via nine, red cards,
Yeah,
right?
VAR, yeah.
Yeah, it's not
I'm
like
not
that.
just giving you a hard time. I really would like to see them come out and just give Man City their punishment, so they
Yep.
get they'll
It's
wait
like a
until the
title
very end.
race, and then they drop them 60 points.
Yeah, they'll finish 1 point above the drop, however it works out. Oh,
Yeah.
39 points? Nope, 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 38. Nope, they need 41. Nope, nope, nope. So, but anyway, thanks for listening. And like we said, subscribe to our YouTube channel, follow us on our social media, and then give us feedback. We prefer, any kind of feedback. And, Brendan wants the negative for some reason. I
I
don't
don't
know.
know.
I don't know. He's got that growth mindset. He wants to know how to improve.
Yeah. There you
So
go.
thanks for listening. We'll see you next time.